Hi, my name is Jill Wilson from the Equality Practice. Today, I have the great honour and pleasure of introducing a man I have worked with both in his employment capacity, but also as a man who volunteers his time, often accompanied by his wife, on inclusion projects designed by the Equality Practice. This man is passionate in his work about equality and generous with his own time to promote it. He is well known and loved locally, but is also known by the top lady in the UK, Her Majesty the Queen. What a delight it always is to be in such company. Danny Fleming, welcome to Including Me.
Thank you so much, Jill. That's really kind of you, and thank you for those inspiring words. I hope I live up to them during this interview, but thank you so much. Can I take you back to 1963 to a small fishing town on the east coast of Scotland called Arbroath, famous for its smokies and of course its world famous football club, because that's where wee Danny Fleming was born, and that's where I grew up. And that's where I had, and I've worked with you on this project before, that's where I had a butcher boy job with my dad, delivering butcher meat. And that was the inspiration for the bread making in the Scottish Rose, if you remember. I started playing the bagpipes. I'm not just dressed like this for no reason at all. At the age of 10, and at 13, no disrespect to any of the different communities and different organisations and roles that one can have, I wanted to join the Scots Guards. And at 16 and a half, I achieved that very aim, and I joined the Scots Guards at Purbright in Surrey. It was the first time at that tender age I'd ever been out of Scotland. I travelled down to London, where I saw for the first time BME community members. I'd never met anybody from the BME community in Arbroath, and I travelled down to Purbright to the Guards depot to join the Scots Guards. 23 and a half years later, as a piper, I'd actually served all over the world. So what a transformation between leaving Arbroath as a fresh-faced 16-year-old to join the Scots Guards, and 23 and a half years later, travel all over the world playing the bagpipes, meeting different communities and meeting different cultures. I had learnt actually at an early stage that my strong Scottish accent was something more of a hindrance actually than a help.
How's that go? Why is that?
Well, I actually was on a tour of America with the Scots Guards, and we were invited as members of the band to properties to have dinner with some of the families that were hosting the band members, and it was about maybe 2.5 hours into meeting the family and having dinner with them and conversations that were flowing really well, so I thought. However, it was after about 2.5 hours that there was an admission by my host that they just couldn't understand a single word that I'd been saying, but there was 2.5 hours of sheer enjoyment, I thought. So I've ever so slightly tapered down the Scottish accent, but not too much, I hope, not too much.
No, Danny, no, I can't tell.
Good. As you know, I'm a very proud Scotsman, and I think I can be, but not at the detriment to my English, Welsh, Irish or other cultures and nations. I think we in the United Kingdom have so much to offer, not only our fellow members of the UK, but the wider communities as well. And obviously in Scotland we have bagpipes that make a lot of noise. We have kilts that are so colourful that perhaps we've got the different that variation that allows us to be more heard, or more easily heard and more easily seen. But wherever and whenever possible, as you know, I'm very keen to promote my Scottish heritage. One of the highlights, I suppose, in my time since 2002 living in North East Lincolnshire was that I was asked by the then Mayor Alec Baxter if I would like to become his personal piper. And you mentioned Her Majesty the Queen earlier, and that was a role that, whilst I was 7 years old, I would have loved. I'm a royalist through and through. I would have loved to be Her Majesty's personal piper, but I wasn't given that opportunity. But Alec asked me if I would be his piper, and what was quite nice was that a bit like a wedding where you were anticipating the entry of the bride. Well, we'll hear the bridal music when the bride enters. Well, you'll hear the bagpipes play when Alec's about to enter the room. And that was wonderful because some of the cultures and some of the communities had never seen bagpipes, heard bagpipes, or actually seen a Scotsman playing a set live. So that's really, really nice to be able to bring some of the culture that we have on our own doorstep for some of our communities that never even, witnessed that. It was fantastic during his year to see the different communities and rub shoulders with them, and just exchange some of the fantastic elements of our communities that we maybe don't see, don't hear, and as you well know, don't taste, because it's all about those factors that I've thoroughly enjoyed working with our communities, not just here, but throughout Humberside. We've just celebrated the work of Robbie Burns on Burns Night. In our house here in Cleethorpes, we traditionally have haggis, neeps and tatties. I normally pipe it in and address it. I toast it, and Jane, my wonderful wife, and son Logan Mackenzie Fleming then have a banquet of haggis, neeps and tatties and all the trimmings. I'm often reminded to tell people that at 23:59 hours on the 31st of December, every year we sing the words to Auld Lang Syne, words that were written by the Robbie Burns that I've just mentioned. And some people are just forget that, our Scottish bard wrote such a prominent and words that are used across the world at that particular time. So I'm very curious to remind people that we have such a wonderful bard. My current job, I was given the opportunity to do in 2016, which took me across the Humber to Hull, and just in time for the City of Culture, which was in 2017, of course. And in my current role, I worked with diverse communities as a cohesion officer. What an amazing year that has been, and following on from that. So watching Russian dancers, listening to African, Somalian singers, joining in with some of the festivities and some of the different festivals that our communities celebrate year in, year out. I was able to not only to watch and listen and to taste, but also to take part, which was wonderful because, as I said, some of our communities haven't tasted what we already have available to us. I thoroughly enjoy playing the bagpipes. I am a very staunch Scotsman. I think there's something to be had also in the unity that we have in the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. I'm sitting here with my union cushion beside me, and I do think that we have strength through unity, and through that unity of not just our four nations, but our communities, we are much healthier, we are much more broadened people, and it makes the world such a wonderful, wonderful place when we include everyone into it.
Well, Danny, what can I say? I introduced you as a passionate advocate for equality and inclusion, and you have definitely come across with gusto. I mean, you can feel it. Danny Fleming, thank you for being part of Including Me.
Thank you very much indeed for inviting me, Jill. Thank you. Stay safe.
And you.